Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Devi and you are watching Just Devi Marie. Now today I'm going to be talking a little bit about wife life, some truths that, I think we all need to know if we want to be a wife or we are a young wife. I think this will definitely be beneficial for you. So if you want to see that, stay tuned. Alright you guys, so as usual, before we get into the meat and the matter of the video, I want to remind you guys to subscribe. I also want to remind you guys to like this video if you've been enjoying my content so far. Also, if you are watching, please leave a bride please leave a bride emoticon in the comments below to let me know that you are watching. Also, check out the previous videos on my channel and my other channel called Yadmens. Alright you guys, so this video is basically a follow-up on the video that I did recently about my single story. So I definitely was single for a long time, but now I am currently married. I've been married for over 2 years now. I've actually been with my husband for a total of 7 years, but we've been married for 2 years. So I just wanted to kind of do the flip side of that single story video and talk about some of the things that I believe are important for us as young wives or as women who are probably courting or dating or looking to get married. A few things that you guys should definitely know or consider before you move to take the big step into marriage. Now, this is not a full and complete list. These are just a few things that I feel like may be beneficial to you guys. It has been beneficial to me to know these things and I feel like it could help someone. Before I get into each point, I wanted to also say that marriage is not easy. First of all, it takes a lot of sacrifice, teamwork, commitment, trust, honesty. Like, to me, if you are having a whole lot of reservations in marrying someone, in marrying a man, like, you're not ready. If you have whole heap of reservations, whole heap of doubts, you're not ready. That's how I personally feel. Because to me, going into a marriage with a lot of reservations and stuff is really not going to help you, because once you get married, those reservations will probably be intensified. So once you find somebody who really loves you, you really love them, you're willing to work at the good days, at the bad days, I feel like marriage is definitely an awesome experience, and it is not something that is to be taken lightly in any way or to be rushed into. It's something that requires a lot of thought, a lot of prayer, a lot of faith, because I'm someone who believes in Christ and tries to live by his word, and therefore I'm always going to include faith-based advice when I'm talking to you guys. So just to let you guys know that, and I'm just speaking from a wife's perspective. None of these things that I will be saying mean that, oh, it's only the wife must do it or the husband don't have a part to play. No, I'm just talking from the wife's perspective in this video. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about is the fact that as a wife, in a new role, whether you're a new wife or an old wife, a young wife, whatever, like, the first thing that I want you guys to know is that you are no longer living for your own self. The decisions, therefore, that you make have to be discussed with your husband. So it's not like you're single, living on your own, and you're living on your own terms. You can get up and do whatever you want to do. If you feel like you want to get up and go hairdresser today and spend all day on the road, like, you can do it, because it's you alone a live, you alone apart, you're responsible for your own self. When you become married and you make that commitment in front of God, in front of man, in front of each other, you have to understand that the decisions that you make going forward have to include your husband. I know sometimes as ladies, we love to say how we are so independent and Miss Independent, and nothing is wrong with having a sense of purpose or taking initiative when it comes on to certain things, but know that you are bonded with someone. This is somebody that you're going to spend the rest of your life with, because to me, if you don't intend on sharing your life with the person, meaning including them in decisions, including them in your life, then what's the point of marrying them in the first place? So that's just something that I wanted to mention to you guys that it's important to know that whatever you are doing is good, and it's best to have a discussion with your partner before you do certain things. And that doesn't have anything to do with, oh, the man is controlling and the man must know this and that. But to me, if you're in a relationship and you want to share your life with somebody, it would not be a problem, or it should not be a problem for you to be like, yeah, you know, this is what these are my plans, these are my ideas, what do you think about them, and whatever, and allow the person to give their advice and give their feedback to you. So any decision that you make, you know what I mean, it's best, I think, to talk it over with your husband, talk it over with your spouse, because I feel like what that prevents from happening is sometimes men can feel like they're not included, and so therefore we are so independent, some of us at least, and you know, we want to do things on our own terms, and we end up neglecting him. And so it's very important to ensure that whatever decisions you're making, your husband is included. Also, like, you can most definitely have your individuality, definitely, because God only made one you. You know, there will never ever be anyone like Devonnie. You know what I mean? And you don't have to lose your individuality, but at the same time, you just have to know, say, your decisions will affect him, will affect your family. You know, when the time comes for you to have children. I don't have any children, that's why I'm just speaking as a husband, from a couple's perspective. So the next thing I want to touch on is keep your marriage life, the personal and intimate parts of your marriage life, private. Now, I feel like this is something that can really break couples when you involve too many people into your relationship. And I'm not saying that if it is that you need a third party for intervention, or like a therapist or your pastor or some trusted friend or some professional person who helps with conflict resolution and stuff like that, that can happen. But what I'm trying to get at is that every little argument or disagreement that you have, you don't need to be going to somebody else, meaning going to your friend, going to your mother, going to your father, and talking about your husband in that kind of way. And a lot of times I feel like as women too, we tend to not necessarily be all that careful with what we say when we are heated and we're very emotional about something. Sometimes we tend to just say whatever, and then in hindsight we're like, you know, maybe I shouldn't have expressed myself. Not expressed myself, but maybe I shouldn't have said use those kind of words to express myself, because, you know, you are causing your partner, your spouse, your husband to feel torn down. And not only are you tearing down your husband in front of his face, but when you start involving your mom, your dad, your friends, whatever, like, you are tearing him down in front of them. And that to me shows some kind of disconnect in your marriage. And remember, you know, when you are married, you come together, so the two of you as individuals become one. And so therefore you don't want to be tearing down your spouse in front of people. And the second thing too is, like, don't be going to social media every time you and your husband have a disagreement. You go to social media, you start throwing shade, you start looking for memes that, you know, are very suggestive. And then to me, when you do those kind of things, it kind of opens up other people who you follow. People, cause you know, on social media you follow all kind of people. You have people who are very close to you, you have family, you have close family, you have family where you don't really talk to, you have acquaintances, you may have your co-workers, your boss, whatever. You have a variety of people on social media. And when you start to open up your private and personal marriage on social media, people will then feel like they are obligated to say, they have all right to say whatever they want to say about your relationship. And sometimes, honestly, that's not the kind of energy, that's not the kind of feedback that you need in your life. And so personally, certain things people not gonna know about my marriage, point blank period. No matter if you're my mother, my father, my best friend, a friend who I know from when, my pastor, like, certain things you're just not going to know, because we have taken the step between each other to discuss things between us, like to talk about things between us. And honestly, I don't remember where I heard this from, I maybe saw it somewhere, but for a long time I've always felt like things between you and your partner need to stay between you and your partner, because guess what? When you start involving your family, so every disagreement that you have, you tell your mother, or you tell your father, or you tell your best friend. You go and you tell them, and then the next disagreement that comes, you go and tell them. What you're doing is you're actually building up this negative image of your spouse to that person. And remember that you're not going to them necessarily telling them all the good. Maybe you're going to them every time there's a disconnect or there's some kind of confrontation or some kind of pushback or pullback or something, and they start to paint a picture, sometimes without even knowing it, that this person is so negative. So you are almost like so quick to forgive, and you are quick to get back on maybe good terms or work it out with your husband, but they don't see that part of it, because every time when you're going to them, what they're seeing is the negative and the quarrels and the disagreements and the disgruntledness and you being heated or you crying and whatever. So you're painting that picture to them, and then that sometimes can cause a very awkward relationship between your spouse and between the people that you love. So to me, just keep your thing private. And I know a lot of times influencers sometimes do feel like, oh, you know, well, I'm an influencer, people want to know and people need to know about my relationship. But you see, the really big celebrities and those people, like, they keep their thing under wrap. They only show you what they want you to know. You know, they only show you what they want you to know. So to me, you can be a transparent person on social media, depending on the kind of influencer that you want to be, but you can keep your private life and your personal life private. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. You can be transparent without revealing every single detail of your relationship or every single detail of your life. So definitely, like, this is probably one of the top things that I would say, is to keep your issues and your personal and private life between the two of you. Don't involve whole heap of people in what's going on with you, because you'll be more likely to forgive them, but they will not more likely to be forgiving of your husband or your spouse. The third thing that I want to touch on is, it's better to me, in my opinion and in my experience, that you work on your issues in the present instead of working on them when they are starting to fester. And that kind of leads me to think about, you know, the Bible talking about not letting the sun go down on your anger. So to me, when you actually let your issues fester, I think about it like a wound that goes untreated, and then it becomes infected and you have other issues because the wound is not treated. And I feel like it's always better to work on things in the now than to wait years pass and you're just working on them. I feel like sometimes a lot of reasons why people sometimes may get separated and stuff like that is because, you know, we don't want to talk about it. Like, you do something that make me feel some type of way and you don't want to say anything about it. You just want to leave it. And then the next time the person does it, it's just building up. And you know, in Jamaica would have said pressure bust pipe. So when you allow all of that pressure to build up, you explode, and the explosion causes so much detriment when you could have probably worked on the issue or been aware or made your spouse or whoever be aware that this is how you feel about certain things, about what maybe your spouse does to you, like this is how it makes you feel. So to me, it's better to not let your issues fester. I honestly am not the type of person that likes to let issues fester. Like, if you bother me, well, if my husband bothers me, I can't say that necessarily about everybody else in my life, but if my husband does something that I don't like, I am going to tell him straight away. Like, nah, go waste no time to tell him, because I just have to get it off my chest, and I feel awkward and weird about it if I don't let him know that's how I feel, you know what I mean? And I feel like it's only fair to him to let him know, because sometimes he may do something and he may not realize that what he did caused some kind of hurt or caused some kind of offense. So to me, it's always best to, especially in the moment when things happen, yes, maybe you may not want to say it like right there in the moment because you may be heated and you may not have your emotions all together, but don't let it fester and don't let it go on for years and years and months and become something that could have been rectified in a shorter space of time. That would honestly ultimately make your relationship a lot more joyful, a lot more happier, because then, you know, you both know that this is how, you know, you feel. So I would definitely say, try to work on your issues in the present instead of letting them fester and become more than they need to be. Another thing that I want to talk about is allowing your husband to actually share his feelings and emotions. I know sometimes when we look at women or we think about women in general, you know, the woman that God has made, that, you know, we're so emotional and like our emotional needs have to be met, but we have to realize that we are all emotional beings, meaning both men, male and female, are both emotional beings. So not because maybe we show our emotions a lot more, it doesn't mean that, you know, men don't have emotions and they don't have that emotional need that needs to be satisfied. And so I would say, whenever your husband probably has something that he wants to talk about, if he maybe is the type of husband that doesn't share stuff like that all the time, I would say make sure that you pay him attention, make sure that you are actively listening, make sure that you are actively giving good feedback, and you don't just run him and try to make it be all about what you feel and what you think. You know, don't invalidate his feelings, because men do have feelings too. And I feel like that is something in our culture, in Jamaican culture, maybe in, you know, worldwide culture, that we need to understand that men do have feelings too, and it's not just all about what the woman feels or what the woman says. It's about both of you. But even more so, especially if you have men who in your lives who don't really share much, you have to make sure that they're emotional being. Like, you know, them know say business, them know say care, them know say, like, you know, it's not just all about you and your feelings, but it's about their feelings too. So, you know, definitely try to not invalidate your husband's or your spouse's feelings. Let them know that to come to you, it's a safe place to come to you. It's a safe place to share and to talk and to cry and whatever. Like, it's a safe place. So let them feel comfortable with you and in you, to know that whatever they're going to say, they're not going to feel judged for it. But, you know, you will offer them that understanding and that listening ear, that shoulder to cry on, and whatever that they need, in that time. So definitely cater to your husband's emotional feelings, because they have feelings too, and their feelings are valid and they're important in your marriage also. The last thing I want to say is learn your husband's love language. This kind of ties in a little bit with the point that I mentioned before about catering to them emotionally. Like, cater to their love language. There are tests online that are free. If you don't know what your love language is, there are tests online that are free that will tell you. Some of them include, hopefully I can remember all of them, quality time, acts of service, receiving gifts, physical touch, and words of affirmation. I think there are 5, maybe there are 6, but they're the 5 are the ones that I can remember right now. So find out what his love language is and study it. I've kept seeing one of the young ladies that I follow on Instagram, her name is The Anointed Writer. I kept seeing her say it and I was like, yo, that is so true. You can't just love people how you feel like how you maybe would want to be loved. You have to look at how they would want to be loved. Because, for example, my love language, or what's at the bottom of my love language like table, is receiving gifts. Like, I'm somebody who, I'm not very fussy like that. That's not something that really appeals to me like that. Yes, I'll be thankful and I'll be grateful, but, you know, that's not something that's very high on my list. So somebody who buy expensive gifts and whatever, like, that's not something that, yes, I will know that you appreciate me, yeah, but it's not like my top reason. So whereas you do something like spending time with me, spend the day with me, or something like that, or plan something that you know I'd like, you know, you know, some kind of act of service, that would more appeal to me and how I feel. So sometimes we need to, as women, know their love language too. It's not just about us and how we feel all the time. Their feelings do matter, and you never want your husband to feel neglected, you know, like he's to only cater to you and his needs and the things that he wants to be catered to are not met. So it's important to learn your spouse's love language and ensure that you are loving them in that way, and study them, because remember say two are different, you know. You have 2 different people who have been grown differently, you know, raised differently, have different experiences while growing up, and you're now coming together. And every day is a new day to learn something new about your spouse. So that makes it interesting, yes, but it makes it something that you definitely have to work towards. Just as if you were in school and you want to get an A, you have to continually study so that you can get good grades and stuff like that. put it like that in your marriage also. You have to work at it for it to actually run smoothly. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please remember to subscribe if you haven't. Also, if you reached this far in the video, you should have done like the video already. Don't forget to like the video. Also, share it with your friends and family. Share it with maybe somebody who is looking to get married, somebody who is dating or who is courting. And also let me know in the comments what you think, or if you have any more advice as for young wives or as for women who want to get married soon. You know, leave them in the comments. Also, to let me know that you're watching, remember to leave the bride emoji in the comment section below. Check out the previous videos on my channel and my other channel, Yadmins. I will see you guys in my next